Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys One Crypt. I am your host JB with my fabulous co-host, actually new co-host Chuck Nasty. How's it going, buddy?
It's going all right, man. It's going all right. Happy to be
Dude,
on here
oh, dude,
doing
me
this
too,
shit.
me too. So we might as well go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Jack Hunter, for personal reasons, did have to step away. He is not stepping away from all of the projects that are tied with Tales from the Podcast and Two Guys One Crypt, but he is stepping away from this project at the moment. And luckily for me, I actually, over the last few weeks, was really able to become pretty good friends with Chuck here, man. So Chuck and I have talked, and he is going to be taking over. So what do you think, man?
I think it's really cool. I've told you multiple times that I think it was meant to be in a way. Jack had his thing going on, and I was introduced to this show, and then it was kind of like, all right, I'll do it. I'll take over the position, and I think I'm good with it. This be
I
fun,
am.
fun. Yeah,
Dude,
man,
it's gonna be
definitely.
a fucking blast, dude. I am very excited for what we have going on and what we are going to be doing. So before we get too far in the show, I also want to go ahead and announce that yes, we do have a theme song now, or a theme noise now. Now, Chuck, just curious, does that sound familiar to you at all?
Yes, that is for my band, Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat. Um, and it's probably one of my favorite tracks. It's off of our album, Key Noise in the Key of Death, and it's the first track on there. I get the names mixed up, as bad as that sounds, but the whole album's good. So but I'm glad that was the one that got chosen, because that's a really cool part that I really enjoy. So yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I absolutely fell in love with that one when I heard it, and I was like, and I messaged you. I'm like, dude, I really think we should use this for our theme music. I really like it. So I'm really happy that you allowed me to do that. And before we get too much farther, why don't you tell everybody where they can actually go and find these songs real quick?
You can go on Bandcamp. You can go on Spotify. You can go on Bandcamp and buy like the whole albums and all that stuff on there. And we've got other places, pretty much just anywhere that you can find music streaming and all that stuff. We're on there, and you can also go on YouTube and check the songs out, stuff on there too. So I hope everybody can find that stuff and enjoy it. Which, by the way, thank you again for enjoying it. I'm glad that you enjoy it. It makes me happy.
That's awesome. And I went ahead, I actually got the Bandcamp site up there and everything. So if anybody does want to go ahead and check it out, you go ahead, look at this banner right there. Go to that website, check that shit out, like it, maybe buy an album. They're pretty fucking cheap, dude. To be supporting an indie artist and everything is pretty cool. But to be able to get a CD for like $3 to $5 is fucking awesome. So I strongly suggest go check out the Bandcamp. Again, there it is. Go look for them, buy a CD, check them out. I love it. They do a lot of ambient, like horror sounds, which is right up my alley. And I would put money on it. If you talk to Chuck, he might even let you use some of it in your footage.
Just ask. Yeah.
So this is Two Guys One Crypt, and we like to discuss some pretty fun movies. Huh? Isn't that right?
To say the least. Yeah. To say the
right.
least.
So we thought it'd be an interesting idea to kind of tie this into the Tales from the Podcast, because with our last episode, Chuck was actually a guest on there, and we discussed the the amazing Creepshow 1, which most
Classic.
of the fans of the show, oh yeah, definitely, an amazing film all the way around, written well, directed well, everything in that film was awesome.
Yeah.
Now for this show, we are going to go the opposite with that, guys, and we are going
Complete
to be
opposite.
discussing the not so much loved film Creepshow 3. So I guess we'll talk about some of the basics to begin with. This was directed by Anna Clevel and James Glenn Doodleson. I don't fucking know.
I didn't know if it was Doodleson or Duddleston. So yeah,
I'm gonna say Doodleson. I think Doodleson sounds a little bit funnier, even if it's not true. I just think it's better.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with Doodleson, and it was also written by Anna Clevel, James Glenn Doodleson, Scott Frizzell, Pablo Panano, and Alex Ugolo. And I'm pretty sure I fucked up probably half of those names, but I'm cool with it. I am cool with it because they fucked up
It's okay.
series for me.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. It's okay because they fucked up everything else, so it's all right. Yeah,
right,
it's all right.
So I guess in a short way, let's go ahead and discuss some of these segments real quick, and we'll obviously be taking turns on it. So I guess I'll start off, dude. So we got Alice. Now this, God damn it, dude. So this segment, Alice, is not a very fun one, at least for me. We got this girl who's kind of cocky, a total fucking bitch, if you will, and she gives us. It's like your typical kind of like pretty on the outside, ugly on the inside kind of story, except it's just done very poorly with a lot of, I don't know, what would you call it, but a lot of hate crimes thrown without this episode. Like,
right? Yeah.
like,
oh yeah.
Like it's really bad. They're like, so overall though, it's about this family. They have a remote. The remote's kind of controlling what's going on in Alice's world, in the real world. Like it's really unclear what it's about.
It's a very confusing thing.
Yeah. So like it's like, well, is this controlling the world that the person who has the remote, or is it controlling Alice only? Because we're only seeing a lot of these things happen to Alice in general. But, you know, so like there's a part where it's like, oh, let me change the color. So then they all come back, and it's kind of like the movie Click, you know, the remote controls everything. It's except a really fucking stupid fucking version of it. But like, so it's like, all right, we're going to change the color. So then there's like, it like jumps the scene, and then it's like repeating. So it's kind of like a mix up between of like Click and Groundhog Day. So it's like the same thing, repeating. So they do the whole color thing. And then when they come back, the whole family's black. And then they're like, oh, let's put subtitles on. Oh, now look, they're all Mexican or Spanish. You know, like it just keeps going and going with the stupid shit. And the graphics in it, the special effects are fucking horrible, dude. The CGI in it. It's some of the most cringeworthy CGI I've ever seen. Like Jumanji did a better job with their CGI in the 90s than this did in the mid 2000s. It was just total fucking bullshit. And then by the end of it, we're supposed to just imagine that, like, what, Alice just wasn't there. It was just a rabbit. Fucking retarded.
Yeah. See,
like, what the fuck, dude?
From the start of watching this film, I immediately knew how the rest of the movie was going to go. And I told you multiple times after I watched it that it starts off like a really bad Goosebumps episode.
Are you talking like the intro where they do like the cartoony type thing?
No, like the Alice, like that thing. But yeah, like that first segment, you already it sets you up for how the rest of the movie is going to be. Confusing, not make sense at all. The stories are just a little, I don't know. But the one thing that I thought was kind of cool, I guess, was even though it didn't look good, but like. And it also didn't make any fucking sense. Was like every time that she came back, her face would get more distorted and fucked up, and her hands were all like, it was like body horror shit. Like,
but with no explanation.
Right, exactly. There was no reason, and she didn't notice how she doesn't freak out about that at all. No, just like,
yeah. By the end, like part of her legs are fused together, and she's hopping and shit. But she's not worried about that. She's more worried that she woke up and her parents are of Spanish descent. Just think about that for a second. Like, if there's not a more racist fucking undertone to it, it's like, I'd rather be fucked up than have Spanish parents. Like, that's what that movie says right there. And it's fucking weird. It really is. And then, like I said, the end of it's, oh, God. But I guess before we go too farther, like, that little intro segment there is like, it's like they tried to take some of the stuff that was going on with like Creepshow 1 and 2 and like do like the comic book aspect. But instead of doing it with the comic book aspect, it's like they used Microsoft Paint from like a Windows ME computer. It was just really, really fucking horribly done.
Yeah.
But that's all I really got to say about the intro there. But Chuck, dude, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the second segment, which is called The Radio.
The Radio. It's about a security guard that lives in a really shitty apartment building that's ran by a pimp, and he's an asshole. This guy, like, I mean, for a security guard, this guy has no backbone whatsoever, and he goes home and drinks and just sits there and be alone or whatever. Well, he goes out one night and buys this random radio from this hobo on the street. And there's always he chooses the one radio that apparently, like, the what was it, the antenna was broken or some shit on it. So he got tinfoil or something and got it to where it was working. But when it comes on, it's this phone sex operator type voice, and it's this chick telling him, "No, you know, your house is a mess. Go clean. You know, go take a shower. Do this, do that." And at first, she starts telling him things to do that are like simple things to make your life a little bit better. And then it's like she tells him to go steal money from a certain area that apparently belongs to the pimp, and then tells him to kill a couple of people and all this shit. And it's it also, the guy that plays the security guard, I can't remember his actual name, but he's been in a bunch of other movies too. House of the Devil. He plays a bad guy in that, and he also in the Sacrament, I think that's what it's called. He's also in that.
Was that the Jonestown one?
Yeah, the one that was completely Jonestown. Yeah.
So rip off.
So I was kind of, yeah. How do you rip off that? But anyway,
right. They tried to make it their own, but it was exactly the same thing. And I think that guy's name was AJ Bowen.
Okay.
And, he played Jerry. Yeah.
But you know, it was after the first segment, you know, the Alice thing, and then seeing this one, I was like, I am so excited to see what happens, so on and so forth. Because this one, I was like, okay, it's an interesting idea. Again, it's got like a young adults Goosebumps kind of story behind it, but with an adult edge to it, I guess. And it's really cheesy and really stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Why is this chick coming to him on the radio? Why isn't he more worried about the fact that there's a chick on the radio that's just talking to him? You know, it's like it goes back to, why aren't these things that should bother you? Why aren't they? You know?
Right. But I was bothered when he went and bought the radio. Like, I don't know about you, but I've lived in some pretty shady places, some really crappy towns, some really big cities, you know, where this kind of scenario would be typically seen. But I've never seen 3 homeless people sitting on a stoop with a whole bunch of goodies, kind of like a India like market. Like they have the blanket down. Like I've never seen that before in my fucking life. So that kind of concept there is like pretty strange, and like the weird things that he had there, because he had like a voodoo book and stuff like that too. Like the whole, it was just odd. It was a very odd setup, and that main homeless guy is probably
the best actor in the movie,
dude. He's probably one of the worst actors I've ever seen. Like, he overdoes the whole thing. So like at the end of all of his stuff, like they always try to do like you know, talking about Goosebumps, like this right here kind of reminds me more of like the Are You Afraid of the Dark? Now, I don't know if you remember that show a lot, but
are you kidding me? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So they would always do this thing before a commercial break, the scream take. And the way he acted reminded me, because they would always do a scream take on him and then cut off and do like a comic book end. But he would always be like, "Oh, radio, ah!" And it would just be ah. It would be like the cheesiest fucking you've ever seen in your fucking life.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, very hokey.
Yeah.
I had some issues with that segment too.
I don't know. It was actually like, I mean, again, this isn't a good movie, but it's entertaining. Right. Yeah. Right. But of course, you know, the other thing though is at the end of it, where the radio tells him to go, like, or the one prostitute chick that's always hitting on him and stuff. The radio is telling him, don't trust her, and he doesn't listen. Tries to take her somewhere to get away from there and be together and have this money that he stole, and she shoots him. And actually, this is probably one of the coolest things in that segment, is he breaks the radio. He's like, fuck this, I'm done. I've got money, I got a woman, I'm good to go. Smashes the radio, and then he gets a bullet to the chest, I think. Or yeah.
No, to the
And
back
then
the back that goes through his chest. And I don't know if you're a gun enthusiast at all too, but you can tell by looking at that handgun that there's no way it's anything bigger than like a 9mm. It's probably a
right.
22 long pistol. It's really nothing special. It's not a big gun. So the chance of it going from your back all the way through and out your chest, not probable. And you could really tell from the really, really bad CGI blood.
But I also like the fact of like, as soon as she shoots him, the pimp guy shoots her through the eye or whatever, and she just kind of falls over. And then the pimp has another radio that's talking to him and saying, okay, well, I told you, blah, blah, blah. And then it's all hunky dory. And this pimp apparently is like happy with his newfound love of this radio. Again, doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, but they do mention that, there is multiple radios, because there is a segment later where we see that homeless guy, and he is what is it, like kind of like chatting with the professor, and he's like, oh yeah, those radios are a hit, you know what I mean? So he's like, he's already talking to them a little bit about that. So that whole part of it's actually kind of already there a little bit, but is what it is. And we do have somebody listening in. He's like, nothing like a podcast while pooping. And Ryan, buddy, it's been a long time since I've heard from you, man. I'm happy that when you have decided to come and talk to me, that you decide to take a shit while doing so. And it's interesting enough, you are pooping while we are watching this big old piece of shit movie, Creepshow 3. So
I really hope that our voices can make everything come out smooth and smooth for you, and just make it a relaxing, good experience in the bathroom for you.
I feel like he probably has every enjoyable time in the bathroom. It's such a fucking weird thing to talk about, this guy taking a shit while listening to us. I am pretty happy though, man. I enjoy the listen and everything, and I'm, regardless of why you're listening to me, it is pretty cool that you're doing it while pooping, and I get to talk about it live on air. So
there you go.
So let's go ahead and get a little bit farther into this. All right. So we went ahead. We talked about the first segment, the second segment. So now we're on Call Girl.
Oh, yeah.
This one was like we get a lot of tie-ins with this one later on. And by the way, Chuck, he says it was totally smooth. So I'm assuming that our voices definitely helped with that.
Good.
I have been told in the past that for some reason that my voice is able to help control people's buttholes, kind of like the Pied Piper can control mice with his little flute. Similar situation. So let's go ahead and talk about this this Call Girl segment. So we start off with like it's pretty much like a non-shown sex scene, and then I'm assuming because their budget couldn't allow for them to do anything more than what they did after some of these really, really bad prosthetics that they used. Yeah. So we get this this hooker who is pretty much going around and killing men. We have no backstory on why. Literally that's all it is we know that she is going around killing men and she's a hooker. There's nothing else that we are given for this story. So we know that she just killed somebody. We don't get to see who, why, or anything there either. But then we see that, she's getting this call from, somebody else and, where to go meet, which is funny because the address that he gives, I believe, is 25 something drive or whatever. But it's funny because later on in this movie, we're at a different house of the professor, and that's his address. But they didn't go to the professor's house when the call girl. So they kind of had a small little fuck up there, I noticed.
Oh, okay. I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah. Well, like later on, the address when those guys are like for the next, is it the next segment? I think. Yeah. Well, when they're getting to the house, the address is right there, and it's the same address that this guy gives, but it's a different house entirely.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things that I saw and kind of caught on that I just thought was interesting. But she gets there, she kills this guy. We do get a scene of her walking past and not noticing other people kind of strung up there. And she kills this guy, takes a shower, gets out of the shower, hears a voice, goes over, and somehow this guy has not only not died, but also got himself out of handcuffs. which is that's an interesting one for me because like your physical body going through handcuffs, like they don't really explain nothing there. It's just kind of fucking odd, but
Yeah.
she pretty much gets a big chunk bitten out of her by some of the worst fucking prosthetics ever. Actually, what I should go ahead and do, and I should show everybody exactly kind of like what I'm talking about here. So I don't really have like a full blown photo of that. Like we got the call girl here, but we do on one of the poster arts, or I guess it's a special edition DVD. So this right here
Yeah,
is
there
the
you go.
actual. Yeah, this is the actual prosthetic that's used on it, and it's it's almost like a frog's mouth with fucking really sharp teeth, but
Yeah.
it doesn't move organically when we were watching it. So when you're actually watching this on screen, it doesn't really move with anything that they're doing. So well, like I believe they actually had like a legit budget too, didn't they? Didn't they? It was like a $3 million budget or something like that too.
Oh, did
But
they?
like, yeah, they actually had like a fairly decent budget, but for that budget, like you would assume that they could afford something a little bit better than a prosthetic that didn't move. Like maybe it's just me, you know what I mean? Like I guess all you filmmakers out there, if you had the same budget that Creepshow 3 did, do you think you could do better than they did on their their special effects and whatnot? Yeah, dude. Creepshow 3 had a $3.5 million budget.
Wow.
So for $3.5 million, they were like, we're gonna make everybody pissed. We're gonna make the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen and fucking send it out there. Yeah, dude, that kind of like really changes everything when you're really watching this. It's like, yeah, not only is this movie bad, but they had $3.5 million to make it that bad.
Yeah, really.
I would really like to know where this budget went. Like the CGI effects in this are so bad. Like there's no way in hell that they went towards that. Like it looks like $30 went towards CGI.
I'd be really curious to see what kind of cars are being driven by the directors.
That's where their budget went.
Yeah, they're like, let's skimp out. Yeah, they're like, we're gonna skimp out as much as we possibly can, and that way it's not that big of a deal. Hey, look, we can put this big prosthetic. He just smiles. Boom, there we go. Like, it's bad.
God damn, it's so fucking horrible. And then like, what is it? At the end of that one, I think. Well, actually, I think it's the next one where we actually get to see the guy leaving, and they're like, "Oh no, it is that one. Never mind." Where he's like leaving, and they're all kind of curious. Like, so not only did everything happen, but like nobody in this whole neighborhood even knows who this guy was for that segment. Like, it's just it's odd, and it kind of does tie into the next one a little bit, which is the professor's wife. And Chuck, why don't you go ahead and discuss that one a little bit, buddy?
All right. This one, throughout the movie, you see this professor guy that's been in the neighborhood from the first one. He's mentioned in throughout the whole thing, I think, throughout the whole movie. But he invites this professor invites these two guys over that used to be his students, and he wants to show them this. He's got this surprise for him, that this amazing thing that he's been working on, whatever. Well, these guys come over there and they end up meeting. That they find out the professor's getting married, so they're coming over for that's what it was, is his wedding, and they meet her and they're kind of blown away because she's not what they thought that she would be, that he'd be able to the professor be able to get. She's some pretty chick with pretty woman with blonde hair, and she's always like, oh, let me do this, let me do that, but she talks as if she's like a robot. So they start thinking, hey, the professor finally made a woman. He made a most realistic looking woman. And these two guys get it so stuck in their head that when the professor has to go out to the store, they start talking to the wife, and they're like, it'll be really funny if we turn her off, or turn her switch off. And they end up slaughtering her. And the whole time they're doing it, they're thinking like, oh, this is like the realest shit, blah, blah, blah. Then they realize that they were looking at a book or something they found, and it's like our memories or whatever. And it shows that because she couldn't remember certain things. She couldn't remember how her and the professor met, or that she actually has amnesia. And that's why she, didn't really know that well. She was from a different country, so she couldn't really speak, great English, that kind of thing. And then they start realizing what they've done. So cheesiest fucking thing in this whole segment, they hear the professor come in. So he's just standing in the living room hollering these guys' names and his wife's name, and they're shoving pieces of her body parts in like the oven, in the refrigerator, in the cabinets. And it's like, man, they're also covered in blood. And it's like, if I didn't hear anything like, okay, I got these two guys who I haven't seen in a while at the house with my wife, I'm not just going to stand there in the living room and holler for them over and over again. I'm going to go try to find them. And of course, what's he do? The professor goes in the kitchen and opens up the oven, and there's his wife's head. And his reaction really isn't that worried. Like, he's sad about it, but it's like, it's just not good. It's just not good. But I actually, which you bring up a picture of actually there's a clip or a pic of the guys like holding the body parts up. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the brain scene. It's like, oh, it looks and jiggles so real.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, there was something about this one that I did like, though. Just the simple fact that it was, well, one, it's like, okay, it's not believable. These two like college graduates are this stupid to think this, but it's the whole idea of like, oh my God, well, like this is kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? And that it's like the only one that likes.
And that one is probably some of the better practical effects from any other segment.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, they definitely used a lot more like real, I guess, real or fake blood than, CGI and everything else. But that one, like, other than like some of the really, really, really bad acting in it, that one probably wasn't as bad as some of the others. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree on that one.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about this last segment here, which is called The Haunted Dog, which is all right. I personally, this one was kind of weird. So we get this very arrogant doctor who we see kind of like in the beginning of it, goes and gets a hot dog. Well, first off, cuts in line. He's total dick. You're very typical, like, I guess you're New Yorker style asshole, I guess you would call that. Would you agree with that? Would that sound right? Yeah. So
yeah,
he drops his dog and, like he ends up just giving it to a homeless guy and it's all nasty and stuff, and goes and gets himself another one and walks away. And then in the background, we see that this dog that fell on the ground, somehow whatever touched it on the ground, whatever that's black stuff was, killed the homeless guy, which is, I don't know about you, but like, being a kid growing up in like Missouri, I'm sure you been in similar spots. You drop candy in dirt or whatever, and you pick it up and eat it when you're little. Like,
oh yeah.
So him dying from it is a little tiny bit absurd, but like, I will say
it's gravel and stuff. It's gravel and everything.
Yeah,
so like, the only thing I can think of is maybe he just, I don't know, but there's always people like hovered around him and no one even like really tries to help. So, he's just sitting there going for like 5 minutes.
All right. So one of my favorite parts about that segment is like we have this young African American guy who runs up in front of him, stops, looks just at the camera, holds his arms up wide, like, we need a doctor. Like,
yeah,
it's so horribly acted. That whole thing. It's really weird. But from there we get a segment of him going to the doctor's office and pretty much living his life. Like, this is probably one of the longer segments too. So like, let me also say that this entire movie kind of has like a it's not going to sound right, but hear me out.
Okay.
Almost like a trick or treat feel. And it's not like, oh, it's nearly as good or anything like that. No. I mean, the segments tie into each other. Moderately okay. Like, the tie-ins aren't so bad. It's everything else that's really, really bad. How they actually did it was okay. But this right here would be one of those segments that's actually taking place before some of the other ones, because we get a nod to the guy getting the card so he can contact the call girl for that segment and things like that. Yeah. But one of the things that I noticed right away, though, with this segment, especially when he's going to the doctor's office, is there's a sign in the background of his doctor's office. Did you see what it said?
Oh, what did it say? I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Venereal disease is a choice.
Yeah.
Get tested. Like, just think about that for a second. Like, they literally put on there venereal disease is a fucking choice. So, I don't know. Like, it was just fucking retarded. Like, I don't understand why.
Don't forget, he's also a complete dick to everybody that comes into his office. He prescribes people things that doesn't make sense. And yeah.
Before we get going on, actually, Jack Hunter is joined us over in the chat there. He says, "Look at these two sexy motherfuckers." And of course, for everybody who doesn't know this Jack has already been messaging me for the last like half hour. He's been jerking off to us ever since we got live, and I don't blame you, Jack, at all. You know, we love you too, man. But I would prefer it if you stop sending me pictures of you jerking off to me. I'm joking.
Or pictures of Jack jerking off to himself, then sending it to us.
Right. It's Jack Hunter's jerk off time about us.
Oh.
It's a callback to the appearance that Chuck had over on Any Last Words recently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jack wants us to take our shirts off.
Nope. Not happening,
last
buddy.
thing we need to do is fucking add more stuff to his spank bank. Says, yes, I love to jerk it to the max to both of you.
It's so disturbing.
just so everybody sees. I 100% do not blame you at all. In fact, I do the same thing to myself all the time. But it's nice to know that there's other people that feel the same way about me as I do. He says I cherish those jerk off sessions.
Can we get screenshots? Can we get screenshots of Jack saying this so we can just like post it all over the place and make sure it's known that he said this?
This is a live video, buddy.
Oh yeah.
This is the ultimate screenshot right here. This
on the internet forever,
my sound clips of Jack.
Oh God, yeah.
That one's fun. But I guess we should go ahead and get back to this segment a little bit. I kind of forgot where I was. Oh yeah, the venereal disease thing. Oh God. So we have this doctor, and he's going doing like everything he's doing is like an asshole way. So like we start off with like this elderly woman, and he's like as watching this, I was instantly like talking to my wife. I'm like, this is why I did not become a doctor. So, like I might be that guy. I'm a little too blunt and honest, and it's almost like it's a very weird line there of like, is he being blunt or is he just an asshole?
Right.
Jack,
yeah.
Oh, you guys, I'm flattered. But so with him being like this asshole doctor, he's pretty much like to the elderly lady. He's like, yeah, well, you've been battling glaucoma for 10 years. It's like it's non-corrective. Don't wait to watch any movies that you want to see.
Oh yeah.
He's just a dick, and then he's prescribing people just horrible fucking things. He's like, yeah, here's 3 weeks of medicinal marijuana. First off, I don't think that's a possibility to only get 3 weeks of a prescription of that. Like, I don't think that's how that one works. And I'm pretty sure like you can't just go to a random clinic because like they made him sound like he's a resident doctor for the month type thing. So it seems like this is like a rotating kind of clinic type thing where they bring in probably newer doctors to get started on and stuff like that. But it's just really, really fucking cheesy. But then for some reason though, we get these, and like this is one of those things like a lot of this movie doesn't make sense because of the way they go about it. So we get this whole scene with with him being the doctor stuff, and then afterwards he's going to these parties, and these parties have like this guy from the call girl segment, the killer with the really bad prosthetic, and like he's handing out all these pills and doing all these drugs, being I don't know, it's really weird. Like the guy, he's an all around horrible person. They really establish that they want you to hate him right away. Like the racial slurs that he's using for Asian people, like like the jokes, like everything is. It's really, really bad. They really try to make you hate this guy, and I guess that aspect of it works. But we pretty much like from there we start getting these small hauntings, if you will, where he's seeing that homeless guy with the hot dog trying to feed it to him. And we see this repeatedly, and he goes to the parties again, and he's back at the doctor's office, and like he even has this whole little spot at the doctor's office where he like pretty much like ruins that little girl's life. He's just like, yeah, you have an inoperable tumor, and pretty much like everybody's hating him from there on out. And like it's one of the things I was kind of confused on is his death. Like nothing happened. The homeless guy was there trying to give him the hot dog, and he just quit breathing while laying down on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you. Like, am I the only person that was like completely fucking confused on why that was even happening? Like, this right here is pretty much like our end scene. So like you see this, and then he cuts to the doctor, and the doctor is just like he takes his last breath, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the thing is why did they choose? Because there's so many things that we would make better about this whole film if we did it. But it's like the order they went into things, it's like none of these things are good. None of these segments are that great. But they went with the most boring ending for the last segment. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever. It wasn't like I didn't like any of them that much, but that was probably my least favorite one. I just didn't do it for me, I guess.
No, and there's Jack chiming in again. Says nothing about it really makes sense in any of the shorts, and I 100% agree, Jack. Now, I know that you tuned in a little bit late to this, so one of the things that I want to talk to, or at least mention real quick, especially since Jack's on, is Jack. You are a filmmaker yourself. You do a lot of these things too. So, what do you think you could have done with this premise in $3.5 million fucking dollars? Because that's what their fucking budget was.
Really? Yeah.
There was $3.5 million behind this. So on top of it making no sense, which automatically says that the writers and the directors did not do their job. So you got two people right there not doing fucking shit. The CGI is horrible. The prosthetics are really bad. I am super curious on where the $3.5 million came from, unless they distributed it themselves and spent $3.5 million making copies.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. Like their CGI budget could not have been more than $100. Yeah. Like there's no way in hell. Jack. Like Jack is fucking confused. Wait, what? $3.5 million? Yes, 100%. $3.5 million is the budget for Creepshow 3. So with like
that's a lot of DVDs that are still sitting in boxes at their houses.
Right? They own the entire collection of the DVDs. It's like, oh yeah, we sold about 3 copies. Yeah. And I think 2 of them are owned between us. So it's like, what the fuck?
It's so bad.
But dude, $3.5 million to make this. Now, I guess before we get too carried away with this, we were kind of curious on what everybody else in the world thought about this movie. So we decided that, hey, this sounds like a fun idea to come up with a new segment. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm actually just going to scroll and randomly stop on the user review section on IMDb and read you guys a couple of reviews, just so everybody is like, oh, well, this is what the rest of the world thinks. Because I don't want you to think that, this is just our opinion. So out of the 86 reviews, majority of them are 1 star. Now, let me go ahead and add on there that you can't do lower than 1 star on IMDb. So that's like the worst of the worst. Before I go into this, Jack actually commented again. He said, I would have made each short slightly realistic and wrote the characters to be relatable to real people. None of the characters are relatable. None of the characters are relatable, and none of the stories really make sense. So, there's a lot of work that could have been done, but $3.5 million, I'm not thrilled. Like, the stuff that Astron 6 is able to do with a $10,000 budget blows this shit out of the fucking water. Hands down. So let me go ahead. I'm doing a random scroll through, and here is the first review that I find. It says, unsympathetically awful. This is a tragic, dumb movie. I don't mean that it is a tragedy that is that it's so dumb. I mean, this movie is about people who don't have a thought in their head engaging in tragic situation. Much blood is spilled, but largely by people who lack any sort of basic reasoning skills or a shred of common sense. Occasionally, the movie jabs you with its elbows, as if to say, isn't this wacky and fun? But there's no fun here. No whimsy.
Isn't
And
this
very
wacky and fun?
schlock. Like, it's hard to read these reviews because like everybody really doesn't like this movie. He says
Yeah, I
it's like
noticed that.
hitting yourself in the head with a rock for 104 minutes. I'm so happy that this is the one I randomly stopped on.
Yeah,
I
really.
couldn't laugh with it. I couldn't laugh at it. I only rolled my eyes at how grotesquely nonsensical it was getting. The rubbery special effects are as cheap looking as they are rarely shown. The writing has that slightly off quality about it that makes you wonder if it was written in a foreign language and then translated to English poorly. Regardless of whatever movie is trying to be wacky, scary, horrific, there is never any kind of suspension of disbelief. Even when the craziest things are happening, all the characters have a weirdly disconnected, just roll with it bias mentality about everything. It's like a space alien's idea of what human beings act like. Don't even consider it. There's nothing redeemable to be here. Like, that is 100% a real review of this. And here's Jack, a serial killer radio. Come on. The radio didn't kill anybody though. It just encouraged other people. That was horrible.
You know what's
Go
real
ahead.
quick about that. Talking about the radio thing, where it ties in, like the radio thing goes on, and then you see like the prostitute chick come up. Like at first, I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, okay, is this the voice on the radio? Like my first thought when you first see that chick, that's what I thought was like, you know.
Is that her?
And then yeah, because it made it kind
Yeah.
of sound like, because the radio was talking about like, oh, there's a killer on the loose and all that stuff, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, it's going into the next segment now, because it doesn't make sense. I didn't catch on real quick.
No, it really doesn't. Now, I don't know about you, Chuck, but I actually really enjoyed that idea of reading a random review. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do another one if you're
Do it
cool
again.
with it. 'Cause that was
Hey man,
fun.
I'm giving all these reviews 2 thumbs up because I didn't do that at all for the movie.
That's fair. All right. So here we go. This is another 1-star review. 9 out of 11 people found this useful. Now, keep in mind, I am 100% being random with this. I'm literally just scrolling up. Oh, look, here's another one from Jack. Wow, that one covered up our faces. Here's the possibility of why it has a big budget. The filmmakers pitched the name Creepshow to investors. I mean, the original 2 were classics. If I were the investor, I would want to invest in the film, but the investors probably didn't see a script and was most likely sold on the poster of the film, and they probably said at that point, take my money. The filmmakers got the rights to use the rights to the name and ruin the worldwide franchise. Luckily, the new Shudder Creepshow redeemed Creepshow 3. I don't know if they redeemed Creepshow 3 because I
I don't
highly
think
doubt.
redeem's the right word.
No, I think what they're doing, especially with the Shudder version, because like I don't know about you, Chuck. Well, yeah, I do know you got Shudder, so I guarantee you've seen this.
Yeah.
But like they have no tie-ins to this, so I would assume that everybody who is behind Shudder's Creepshow, like the actual TV series, I bet they actually have like an NDA. It's like, yeah, we don't talk about Creepshow 3. This did not happen. Like I'm pretty sure like nobody there is like, no, we're not redeeming it. No, that's its own piece of shit. We're leaving that alone. We're not even gonna try.
It doesn't even exist in our minds.
No. For them to redeem it, that means like they would have to redo at least one of the segments, and I don't think they would touch any of these segments with a fucking 10-foot pole, dude. Like
No, not at all. No.
But, so let's go ahead and read this next review. This is by Jericho Squad. It's hard to explain how bad this film was. In case some people think, oh, another so bad it was a good film. It's if that's what you want, look somewhere else. The only good redeeming quality about this travesty is the ending credits. If you haven't already snapped the DVD, God forbid anybody buys it, buy a blank DVD. I guarantee watching that will make you laugh, cry, more scared, etc. That's crud.
Nice.
Dude, that's one of the greatest things I've ever heard. It's like just get a blank DVD.
That is a good
It's
one.
better. He says, P.S. Am I the only one who thinks the story is about the tramp choking on a hot dog was a bit too similar to Thanks for the Ride Lady story from Creepy 2? That said, that was story 4 was at 5. Hard to remember because every tale had the same actors. By the time whoever came up with this garbage was probably all out of ideas after they had just come up with the groundbreaking starting cartoon. They also put in parentheses sarcasm alert. In short, this is an abomination. There is nothing good here. Watch the other creepies again. The story's entertainment, lack of obvious rubber mask are far superior to this film. 1 star is being very generous. Here's exactly Creepshow. What's that? Nope, never heard of it. And that's exactly how I imagine it goes in the actual like Creepshow room when they're doing like there's discussions for the Shutter series. The only good thing is the hot chick in the first short. That's it, plain and simple. You're talking about Alice. Actually, she wasn't a hot chick. If you remember, she was a rabbit. Like by the end of it, they're just
like 16.
Yeah. There's that too. And
the prostitute was older.
Right. And yes, you are right. These are the people who did the Day of the Dead sequel. Was it Day of the Dead 2? What's it called? I'm sure Jack will probably post what it is again. I know it's it's a fucking shitty fucking copy too. It's really, really bad what these people have done. They've ruined 2 franchises. They've and may I add that these guys have never publicly apologized for making this film either. They did this and then expected people to want to watch it. Like no apology, nothing.
Well, not only was it like 2 franchises, but it was 2 Romero franchises.
Yeah, 2 Romero franchises. Yeah, Contagion's what it was called. That's what And dude, it's such a fucking horrible piece of shit. I don't know why this was made. Like hands down, like I watched this movie, and I'm sure Chuck watched it all the way through as well. And I don't know why. I just I don't know why on anything that happened in this movie, but like I mean, going like even more basic than that. Why was this made? Like, there's no reasoning behind any of it. The tie-ins don't. There's nothing really good about any of this. There's like the only thing that I thought was okay was just like how everything kind of blended together. But I'm a huge anthology guy, and I think the concept of things blending together is kind of cool. I think Trick or Treat did it probably the best. Like that was one of the most amazing ones ever. And Creepshow 1 and 2, they don't really have that kind of tie-in. They just go from segment to segment like your typical anthology would. But this right here was just a piece of crap. What's even better, on the DVD, there's a discussion with the filmmakers. I don't want to talk to them.
No.
I am not very thrilled with how that was. And here's the DVD for everyone that wants to see it, which definitely is giving some of that Creepshow vibe. But then we got some of the poster art, and this poster art is fucking completely stolen from the EC comic idea, which we kind of do something similar with the Tales from the Podcast, I think, but we at least stay true to what they were about. Like, if the Gaines family, who are the people who were, did EC Comics back in the day, like, if they ever saw that, dude, like, fuck, dude. Like, they'd be pissed the fuck off. They talk about it like it's the next best thing. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Hell, you might be able to play it on there. Oh God. I really, really, really hope that those people never make another movie again. I'm not happy with it. I wasn't thrilled watching it. This is it's one of those times where it's like, okay, I watched this and I'm never gonna get that hour and a half, 2 hours back. Like, it
Right. Yeah.
doesn't come back.
Because it is about 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's not a short movie. It's not a short movie. It's not an easy watch. It's hard to follow. The acting is horrible. The CGI blood really fucking takes me out of it. I'm sorry, but like, fake blood is too cheap to make, too easy to work with. The fact of using CGI blood, bullshit. Fuck them.
Like when sorry.
Go ahead.
Like with the hot dog vendor, and like his face just starts pouring blood, and you're like, that looks like straight up CGI. Like that's like horrible CGI.
The end of it. And Jack says, by the way, day 3, I'm at 59% on my upload. So for those who don't know, Jack's been uploading something for days now. And I believe he had a power outage the other day that kind of reset some of the time on it. But this is what happened when Jack decided to not be his typical self and step away from the Cox internet. So since Jack took one penis out of his life, his whole internet thing got ruined. Now, the thing about Jack that people don't know is that the more penis in his life, the better Jack does.
It's well known. I think it's a well-known fact.
It is a well-known fact. You know, he's the youngest loadmaster in the Navy. Like, I mean, you're talking about a guy whose whole life just revolves around cocks. And, you know, to each their own. I'm not judging at all. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I'm not hating on it at all.
We accept Jack. We accept Jack.
We accept Jack for what he is and everything else. And if anything, Jack, I love you, man. And I hope many, many more cocks in your future.
Big
ones, some very big ones. Now, Chuck, do you have anything that you want to add about this film before we wrap shit up?
Yeah. Okay. So big fan of the first one, obviously. Penis all day, every day. Jesus, Jack. See, he doesn't deny it, folks.
No.
I'm a big fan of the first Creepshow, which we talked about earlier. I'm not a fan of the second one. Okay. Just it didn't do it for me. Whatever. So when I found out there was a Creepshow 3 years ago, I was like, I'm not touching that with anything. Like, I'm not caring about it at all. So it was really interesting to me about, okay, this is the movie we were going to watch and talk about, because I was like, okay, now I have an excuse to why I need to watch it, and it was pretty much like I figured it would be. It's weird because I never thought there'd ever be a movie that Creepshow 2 would be better than.
Creepshow 2 wasn't bad, dude. I'm going to join in on that. Like,
I don't really care.
The raft is something I'll never forget. I love that segment.
The black sludge in the lake. Yeah, I know.
Like, I understand it's not as good as Creepshow 1, and I completely get that, but it is better than Tales from the Hood 2. You know, like,
yeah, I couldn't even watch that one.
Or what's the other one? Is it Galaxy of Horror? Like the one that's like kind of in space or whatever. Like I'm a huge anthology guy, dude. I'm huge, especially horror anthology. So Creepshow 2 is really not that bad compared to some of these. There's a lot of rough ones out there, buddy. I mean, a lot of ones.
I guess where I'm just such a fan of the first Creepshow or whatever. Well, I guess, okay, like when it comes to Creepshow 2, there are a couple, like, I guess, like the black sludge in the lake. Okay. And then you have the one with the hitchhiker.
Right.
That was
the Indian one. Like, the Indian one's pretty iconic.
I didn't like that one.
No.
The whole thing just didn't do it for me. And Creepshow 3 just really I don't know. Like, they better not make any more of these. They already got the TV show going. Just leave that alone. Like, leave Romero's shit alone. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I personally think a lot of the and this is my own personal opinion, but I think a lot of those older Romero styled projects, for the most part, in general, kind of just need to be left alone. Like, you know, like, I'm a fan
Agreed.
of watching a lot of these films and everything. I'm a fan of like, especially a lot of like the Dead films that that they did early on.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Yeah.
even with those, they kind of lost me when they're doing what was it like survival? Was it survival? Was that in the island?
Survival of the Dead.
Yeah, was that the
Uh,
one? Like
I think
even those with the original people going through them still kind of lost me after so long. Like I'm sometimes I think people need to sit back and just like, yeah, let's let this sit for a while, let it be what it is. It is what it is, and not continue a story.
yeah.
And Creepshow 3 is obviously one of those things where it didn't continue the story, but they used the name and it was a total piece of shit. No, Jack. Apparently, the real Creepshow 3 is the film Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. No, because that's actually a good movie. Like,
Yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorites. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Like I guess I could see why people would assume that. I guess they were just looking for another horror anthology to kind of fit in the same kind of vein, and that's what we get. And with Tales from the Dark Side, that was at least pretty cool. But
Where did
dude,
Jack get his information on that one? Was that his own personal opinion, or is that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
He says apparently. I put the comment up there so everyone knows it doesn't come from me. I
yeah.
don't know if that's like a legit thing that goes around in the Creepshow 3 community. I'm not sure if there is a Creepshow 3 community where they discuss what the real Creepshow 3 should have been. If there is, I really, really hope it gets dissolved really quick. Like, there's no reason for anybody to talk about that.
I'm sure there is. It's all 6 people that were in the movie.
Oh, well, yeah, that would make sense too. But I know that they had to have used different properties for that as well. Which, but now the same people with the Creepshow creators and writers. So, I'm not sure. Did Tales from the Dark Side have Romero and Stephen King behind it?
That's a good question. I feel like I should know this. I feel like I have known this, but my brain is just like.
Me personally, I do not think it is, but it doesn't
There's somebody attached to it. There's somebody attached to it, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody. It has to be like one of the producers or something. But like everything, like I don't think that they actually. I don't think Romero or him or Stephen King really did, because I've seen a lot of the stars for it and everything. I'm not really seeing a lot of the producers online looking it up.
And writers and stuff.
Yeah,
there's somebody, but I can't think of who it was though. Because I remember a while back I looked at it and I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't realize that person was involved with it.
Right. See, we got all right. So directors, we got Frank De Palma, John Harrison, John Stiersick, Theodore Grushery, Armand Earl, Bill Travis, Tom Savini. He did 3 episodes. So we already knew that. Got a lot of one-offs here too. I'm not seeing any. Oh, here we go. Yeah. We got Stephen King for 2 episodes. So Stephen King did 2 episodes. And Romero did 4 episodes. Yeah, so there is actually a really good tie-in there. You really have to search it down and everything, and considering that there's 4 or 5 seasons. I think there's 4 seasons of Tales from the Dark Side, I believe. But it's still pretty cool. And those are. It doesn't. Oh, the movie. I'm not sure. I was looking up the series, to be honest with you. I was a bigger fan of the series personally.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like the movie a lot, but man, that's what I need to go back and watch is the series.
God, I've been going through and watching a lot of TV series myself. Oh God, well, first off, let me. Oh, whoa. Okay, so there's just something really weird that I just noticed. Like, we got Tales from the Dark Side, the movie 1990, and then we got Tales from the Dark Side TV movie 2015. I'm not interested in the TV movie, to be honest with you. So the actual film, it's directed by John Harrison, and yeah. Well, kind of. All right, now this is kind of odd because you got your writing credits.
Yeah.
Stephen King and George Romero did do a segment, kind of. Stephen King, they used the Cat from Hell segment that he already had a short story on, so he got a credit for that. So I'm not sure if you can really say that's because he didn't do that one for the movie. You know what I mean? I believe that segment, that short story, was around before then. And then George A. Romero did the screenplay for it, and that's it. So you got both guys working on one of the segments together.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh, Jack did send me a leak real quick. Let me go ahead and check that out.
Oh God.
Yeah. It says the real Creepshow 3 is Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Um, yeah. Yeah, I see what they're all saying and everything, but even with some of the stuff that I looked up, it's like it seemed like as it went on, Romero and Stephen King had a lot less to do with the series, like
Yeah.
in general, And then with the TV series itself, it's like they did a couple of spots, but I guess you get that a lot. Like even it kind of reminds me almost like the way they did Ash versus Evil Dead. Raimi came in and did a few episodes, but you can really tell that he didn't did the whole fucking show. So I'm assuming they probably did something, kind of along those same kind of lines, which may I add, if anybody has not seen Ash versus Evil Dead, it's pretty fucking sweet.
That's a good show.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. So you have anything that you want to add before we go ahead, wrap this up, and get the fuck out of here? Hey, Chuck, is that cigarette 13 for the show? Hey, we're working on lung cancer here. I don't know who you are to judge.
Look.
Chuck's like, I'm not even gonna say nothing. Fuck this. I don't care.
Jack can't be on the show, but he can comment over and over again.
It's actually funny because
it's hilarious. Actually, love you, Jack.
Well, that's not what I mean.
Okay.
But we actually do have somebody who does want to join in on this for a second. But before we get too far, I do want to say that we were both actually wearing some pretty cool shirts there. I see that you got your Cypress Hill shirt on.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking sweet, dude. And for those who don't know, I got my friends over at Throwdown Thursday their shirt on today. You guys should go and check them out. Fucking awesome show. They talk about all these different characters. It's fucking great. Check, dude. Like, check your DM. Dude, check your replies, asshole, because it was already there.
But, yeah. We can still give him shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, he's still the butt of all my jokes. That's for sure. But yeah, definitely, guys. Every Thursday, check out Throwdown Thursday. See what they're doing, what they have going on over there. Those are great guys. They're always talking to filmmakers, producers, writers, creators, anybody, everybody who's part of something. It's amazing what they do. It's really, really cool. I'm not sure if this person's even coming or not. What a douchebag. So, Chuck, dude, overall, how would you rate this film?
Oh, how would I rate it? Can you rate turds?
Yes. Let's go by turds.
Let's go by turds.
So, for those who don't know, 2 guys, 1 crip kind of sounds like 2 girls, 1 cup. So, doing the whole turd things, I think it's kind of acceptable. So, out of 10 turds, how many turds would you give this?
I would give it a corn.
A corn? So, it's just a kernel and a turd?
Yeah.
Fair. I love that.
Piece of shit it's a piece of shit that just is dangling there that fell off, It's that. It's like
Right. I would give this right here as like 1 cup of diarrhea. It's just a big old fucking mess. So here we are. We actually we do have somebody joining in, so let me add him to the stream real quick.
Oh God, that guy. Hey, Jack.
Hi.
This is we were actually discussing one of Jack's favorite movies, Creepshow 3.
Yes.
Nothing. I thought you wanted to add something to the show.
No, I was saying I was going to talk to you guys after the show, not on the show. But
okay, that's my bad. I didn't know that. Well, let's
this
go
is
ahead.
my
Kick this
farewell- This is my farewell speech to everyone. I have other stuff going on, and I still support these dumbasses, even though there are assholes, and I love them dearly. And
we all know by the size of your anus. It's so big you can't give it a fucking speculum in there. I love you, Jack.
Anyway, Jack, go on.
No,
He's like, no.
just good luck, and I have a feeling this show will take off, and I'll do. Yeah, I'm me.
So I'll add him back after we're done, Chuck. But I guess let's go ahead and wrap up then, man. So thank everybody for tuning in. We had a blast chatting about this. Chuck, actually, man, I believe you have a little bit of news for what's going on with our next episode of Two Guys, One Crypt, don't you, buddy?
Yeah, like, do you want to go ahead and say what the movie is?
Yeah. Go ahead, introduce the movie,
okay.
and just so everybody knows, Chuck will be hosting the next one.
Yeah. A film that I used to love as a kid. It was so bad. It's called Sorority Girls and the Creature from Hell. Just the title makes you realize it's not really that good of a movie. But as a kid, I loved it. And again, when you're 12 or 13 years old and a movie is called Sorority Girls and the Creature from Hell, you've got to watch it. So that'll be the next episode, and I will be the hostess with the mostest on that one.
Yes, you will. So I guess with that being said, guys, the crypt is closed, and we will see you next time.
Peace.